This is a CP. Remember, the head of the CP is the complementizer, right? And the complement of it is the enthalpy or IP. So C is the head. What's the complement?
He will come.
What is it? What type of phrase is that?
The info phrase.
It's an info phrase.
Info phrase, yes.
Info phrase.
Let us call it IP. Yeah. So if we combine C and IP, what do we get?
C bar.
C bar. Very good. Yeah, C bar. Suppose that we add a YP, which is a specifier to C bar. What do you get?
The CP.
Yeah.
CP.
CP. Good. The CP. Now we don't have any YP. We don't have any specifier here. We don't have it, but we can have it. And the specifiers of CP are the WH words, like who and what and which and where and when and why and how. So the WH words occupy the specifier position of the CP. So tell me, what's the head of this phrase? What's the head?
C.
Well,
What's,
that.
what is it? What type of head is it?
A complementizer.
Complementizer.
It's C. Right? It's C.
Yes,
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
is.
What's the complement?
He will come.
Welcome.
YP.
Info phrase.
What's the specifier?
That.
What's the specifier?
YP.
The YP.
YP, yeah. That can be occupied by WH words like when and where and how and who and etc. And what's the maximal projection?
CP.
CP.
Good. So again, we can have the same rules. You see, CP rewrites as YP C bar. Here it is. CP rewrites as YP C bar. C bar rewrites as CIP. CIP.
CP is the maximum projection.
Say that again. Yes, miss? What did you say?
Just proceed, sir.
CP is the maximum projection.
Yeah, okay, yes. So the IP is the complement, C is the head, which is that, CP is the maximal projection, and YP, the specifier, is the place where we have where we put where we place WH words like who and when and where and how, etc. Okay, and CP is the maximal projection. That's true. Now take the YP itself. YP. Sorry, the IP, which is the info phrase. IP. What is the head of the IP?
Well.
Which is?
Well.
Which is?
Auxiliary.
Auxiliary.
Which is an inflection, which is I. What's the complement of I? What's the complement?
The VP come. Verb.
What is it?
Come.
A VP. Verb.
The
A
verb,
VP.
the verb come.
Is it the verb or the VP?
VP.
VP. VP because the complement is always a maximal projection. So it's a VP.
Yes.
Yeah, combining them together, what do we get?
Inflectional phrase.
Info phrase.
Inflectional phrase.
YP.
I-bar.
E-bar.
Why in the X bar format, it's I-bar. Imagine that we have a specifier, which is YP, and then we combine the specifier and the I-bar together. What do we get?
Info phrase.
Yes, the info phrase, which is IP. Again, it's the same structure. IP rewrites as YP, which is the specifier I-bar. I-bar rewrites as IVP. Now, an important question to ask is what do we place in the specifier position of the IP? The answer is the subject. This is the subject position. The subject moves from the specifier of VP to the specifier of IP, and I will explain this point. So this is the subject position, which is he in this case. Remember that the relationship between the specifier and head is one of agreement. The subject agrees with the head. The head is a gender and number and person, etc., and it agrees. There is an agreement. If this is singular, this is singular. If this is plural, this is plural, etc. So Hikam is the VP, well is the info, and this is the subject position. Originally, I will explain later on, the subject is in the specifier of VP, but it moves. It moves from this position to this position for a reason that I will explain later on, not now. So that's the structure of the IP then. Now let's take the structure of the VP itself. What's the head of the VP?
Verb.
Come.
Now in this sentence, does it have a complement?
No. No.
It's a complement. So I will just project it into V bar. And then the V bar will be combined with a specifier, which is the NP, to get what? To get the VP, the VP. So look, NP here is the subject itself. The subject is the specifier of VP, but it must move from this position to the specifier of IP. I will not be explained to you. I will not be able to explain to you why now. I will just leave it for the future. But what you should know at this stage is that the subject is originally in the specifier of VP, and then it moves from that position to the specifier of IP. Tell me, what is the maximal projection here?
VP.
What's the head?
VP. V.
What's
The
verb?
NP.
NP. Does the verb have a complement?
No.
No.
It means that it can, it doesn't have to. Mute your mics, please.
Yeah.
So again, it's the same rule. VP rewrites as NP, which is the specifier V bar, and then V bar rewrites as verb. It doesn't have a complement in this case, which means that the complement can be there and may not be there with some verbs. With some verbs, it's obligatory, what we call transitive verbs, and with others, there is no object, like with the intransitive verbs, so-called.
Sir,
Yes, miss.
can I ask a question, please?
Sure.
Just about the specifier.
Yes.
Is it always a subject? Because we studied in the class last time that the specifier position may take the determiner.
Yes, it can be a determiner, it can be a demonstrative for the noun phrases. But I mean, the specifier of the VP is the subject.
Thank you.
And I explained to you that there is an analogous relationship between the structure of the sentence and the structure of the noun phrase.
I'm sorry, sir. Some people from the group are asking to be accepted in the meeting.
But we agreed to meet at 2:15, and now it's too late, and I think I must finish in 1 hour. So does it take too much time? I mean, to accept them?
I actually don't know. I was just asking you.
Just please ask them to join, and I will admit them.
But is it annoying or something?
No, it is not.
Okay, just make sure to mute your mics because I have to finish in 1 hour.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead, please. So that's it then. So, I mean, that's the structure of the VP. Now, I mean, knowing this, we will be able to build the structure of the clause as a whole, okay? And here is the structure of the clause. This is the CP, complementizer phrase, with its specifier, which is the landing position for WH words, C bar. C bar rewrites as CIP. Again, IP rewrites as specifier I bar. The subject moves from this position to this position, as I explained before, but I will come back to this point. IP rewrites as the specifier I bar rewrites as IVP, VP rewrites as specifier V bar, and then you have V. Some questions for you guys. How many heads do we have in this closed structure? Count the number of heads.
3.
Yeah,
Three.
exactly. We have 3 heads. Yes. Now, how many maximal projections do we have?
3,
3.
1.
3. Yes, and that's logical because every maximal projection must have one and only one head. So it's understandable that every, maximal projection must have one head. Okay. What are the complements? What's the complement of C?
IP.
That's good. Yes. What's the complement of I?
VP.
VP.
What's the complement of V?
It has no complement.
Has no complement.
There is no complement.
So how many complements do we have in total?
2.
2.
Great.
Two.
And this makes sense because we have 3 maximal projections, but one maximal projection, which is VP, the head doesn't have a complement. All the other maximal projections contain a head with a complement, except for this one. So we are expecting to anyway. How many 1 bar level? When we say 1 bar level, we mean X bar. How many 1 bar level do we have?
3.
3. And it
3.
makes sense because we have 3 maximal projections. We have 3 maximal projections, each one of them with its own 1 bar level. So it makes sense, you see. That's it. So now, ladies and gentlemen, I can formulate the X bar theory, just to generalize. It's like this. XP rewrites as ZP X bar. ZP is the specifier. X bar is the 1 bar level. Like this. Yeah? Does it make sense?
It does.
Yeah. And then X bar rewrites as X YP. It's like this. Okay? So it makes sense, right? So the X bar theory, in the X bar theory, we have only 2 rules, this one and this one. And by them, we can build any phrase, whatever it is. I would like to add just one thing, which is, the adjunction. I will come back to adjunction later on. Because adjunction means a join into, like those adjuncts. I will come back to them in a moment. I will not discuss them now. Now, I will discuss one sentence with you, how we can build one sentence with you, and then I will get you to do the other sentences at home. Suppose that we have this sentence, which is the customer will order the drinks immediately. How many words do we have here?
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, yes.
7 words.
D is
Determiner.
that's the determiner. Customers,
Noun.
Noun.
noun, well,
Auxiliary.
auxiliary, that's a order,
Verb.
the,
Determiner.
thing,
Noun.
Noun.
and immediately
Adverb.
adverb. That's good. So we'd better start with noun phrases. We project the customers into 1 bar level, and the determiner is the specifier. Remember, determiners and specifiers. And then we get this NP with its specifier, which is the determiner. It makes sense.
Yes.
There's another noun phrase with its specifier being the determiner. We project the noun into N bar, getting an NP with its specifier determiner. So 2 NPs. Then I will project the adverb itself using, could you please mute your mics? I project the adverb phrase into adv level, adv bar, and then adv p. Same thing for the VP. For the verb, I will project it onto V bar, yeah? And then I will do something. Look, I will reduplicate V bar. That's what we call adjunction. I reduplicate V bar, as you can see. See, I reduplicate V bar to include the adjunct adverbial phrase. All right. And then, okay. And then I will build a VP. VP has a specifier. Specifier is the subject. I put that sign. You know that sign that we use in mathematics? It means 0. We call it phi. Why? Because that's the original position of the subject before it moves to the specifier of IP. So that's the subject position. And then the subject is this NP. I will project info into info bar. Remember, info takes the VP as a complement. Then the subject, and then I will get to the level of info phrase. In this case, I don't need to go to CP because I don't have a complementizer. Do you have any questions about this tree diagram? Do you have any questions about this tree diagram?
No.
Okay, very good.
Sir,
Now,
I have a question.
yes, please, go ahead.
Why did we include the NP in the inflectional phrase?
Because that's the subject. As I said, the subject moves from the specifier of VP to the specifier of info phrase. Remember that the specifier agrees with the head. Info is masculine, the NP will be masculine, feminine, it will be feminine, etc. So the subject is the specifier of info phrase. Did I answer your question, sir?
Yes, sir.
Any more questions about the tree diagram?
Sir, please.
Yes?
The noun phrase the drinks. Why we don't say the drink is the head of the noun phrase?
What is it? What's the head of the noun phrase?
Drinks.
It is.
It is. But we it is. I'm sorry.
Okay. Any
Hey,
more
sir.
questions?
I
Yes,
have a
sir.
question. I have a question.
Yeah.
This is a sentence. The customer will order the drinks immediately. This is a sentence.
It is.
Isn't it a must for us to put an S as the head of this tree diagram?
We discussed this in class and we said that S must have a head and that should be reflected because every phrase must have a head. And the sentence does have a head and its head is the complementizer. So so we want to reflect that in the tree diagram. Yes. So what we mean by the word sentence is ambiguous. You see, it's very ambiguous. It doesn't mean anything really. You see. So from a syntactic viewpoint, we need to specify that it has a head just like the other phrases, and it does have a head. And remember, its head can be either that or if or whether or for. So it has to have a head, and this should be reflected in the tree diagram.
All right, thank you.
You are welcome. Any more questions, please? Okay, if not, then I will give you the homework.
Professor.
Yes, miss. Yes, please. Can you hear me? Guys, can you hear me?
Is it
Yes.
mandatory to add
Yeah,
the specifier in the VP?
Say that again.
I said if it's mandatory to add the specifier in the VP.
Yes,
You mentioned it is null.
It is. Yes, it is. Remember that every phrase has a specifier, has a verb, and has a complement. But the specifier may not be functional, may not be there, may be empty. For example, for this adverb, Here, it doesn't have a specifier, but it can have one. Like, for example, so, those intensifiers. Intensifiers can be used as specifiers for adverb phrases. So it's just implicit. It's empty. It's empty. It is there. So remember, the syntactic position is like a space, a place. Yeah, and it can be filled with something, but it may not be filled with something. Same thing for the VP. It does have a specifier. It's the specifier is the original place of the subject, but then the subject moves from there to a specifier of info phrase, and I will come back later on to explain to you why we have this movement. Did I answer your question?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.
Any more questions? Okay, I will go back. I will go to the exercises. I'm giving you 4 sentences that I would like you to analyze at home using this tree diagram, using the X-bar format. Here are the examples. The first one is easy. The customer will order the drinks. Do we have any adjuncts in here?
No.
What's the VP?
Order
the drink.
What's the IP?
Will order the drink.
What's the IP?
Will order the drink.
No.
The customer will order the drinks.
Exactly. The customers will order the drinks, because remember that the customer is the subject and it moves to the specifier of IP. It's the specifier of IP. Now the second sentence, the customers will order the drinks immediately. It's just like the one that we have just analyzed. The difference between it and the previous one is that while in the previous one there is no adjunct, there is one adjunct in the second one, which is immediately. Now let's look at number 3. My analysis will probably surprise the critical representatives. Okay, tell me, guys, what is the VP in this case?
Surprise.
Probably surprise the critical representatives.
Okay, my question for you, is it surprise the critical representative or probably surprise the critical representative?
Depends on if we are talking about the augmented VP, it's probably surprise the critical representative.
No.
Probably surprise.
Listen to me. Beginning from now, we will not use the terms small augmented, because now we have something which is V bar, something which is VP. VP is VP and V bar is V bar. What we used to call, small VP is in fact a V bar, right? And my question for you was whether or not probably is a part of the VP. Yes or no?
Yes, it is.
Yes.
Yes, it's part of it. Remember that we just need to reduplicate to iterate the V bar. Okay, so probably is a part of the VP. Yes. Tell me now, what is the IP here?
My analysis will probably surprise critical representatives.
Yes, my analysis will probably surprise the critical representative. What's the specifier of the IP?
My analysis.
The subject.
What's the specifier of my analysis?
My.
Very good. My is the specifier of analysis. For the first group, not the second group, the group that I have from 8:30, analysis, is it a deverbal noun or a nominal noun?
Nominal. Deverbal. Analyze. To analyze.
Yeah. And that's why we can say John's analysis. John will be something like property. Yeah. Okay, good. Now for mute your mics, please. Mute your mics. My smart analysis of this issue will quite probably surprise the representatives. My question for you is, what is the specifier of IP?
My smart analysis.
Smart analysis.
Is it my smart? or my
My
smart?
smart analysis of the issue.
Yes, good. That is the specifier. So what phrase is this specifier?
Noun phrase.
What's the head of it?
Analysis.
Specifier of it.
My.
My smart.
My
smart.
No, my smart. My smart.
Is the specifier my or my smart?
My
smart.
If your answer is my smart, your answer is incorrect. Smart is not a specifier. Specifier is just one thing. So smart, what's smart then? What's smart then?
Adjunct.
It's an adjunct. What is it adjoint to?
Analysis.
What's that?
The head of the MP.
In the tree diagram.
The complement?
The modifier of the verb.
The specifier of the verb phrase.
That's incorrect. We said that
The end bar.
N bar. So it's a joint to N bar. Yes. It's not a joint to NP. Otherwise, it would be here. Because I mean, my is a part of the NP. So it's a joint to N bar. That's correct. Of this issue is the complement of analysis. So my smart analysis is a noun phrase. That's the specifier. And you should analyze it as an NP. Having had, mute your mics, please. Mute your mics, please. So my smart, mute your mics, please, I said. Mute your mics, please. My smart analysis of this issue is the NP, which is the specifier of IP, having analysis as its head, my a specifier, smart as an adjunct, which is a joint to N bar of this issue as the complement of analysis. So I would like you to grapple with this sentence and try to build a tree diagram for it. So what is what's the VP?
Surprise the representatives.
Quite probably surprise the representative. Quite probably representative.
Yeah, good. So it's quite surprise. Mute the mics. Quite probably surprise the representatives. Quite probably surprise the What's the head of this VP?
Surprise.
How many adjuncts does it take?
2. 1. 2.
2.
2. Yes. What are they?
Quite probably.
Quite probably. What do we join each one of them to?
EP?
No.
Inflectional phrase.
What is it?
The inflectional part.
If it's a joint to the inflectional phrase, then it should be here.
To the V bar.
So, I mean, from this and listen to me, the rule is, I mean, adjuncts are always a joint to one bar level, to V bar, to N bar, etc. Okay, adjuncts are always a joint to one bar level, V bar, N bar, etc. Tell me, is this a type of left adjunction or right adjunction?
Left.
Left adjunction.
We need to reduplicate V bar twice. You reduplicate it for the first time to include probably, and you reduplicate it for a second time to include quite. Okay, the head surprise, does it have a complement?
Yes.
What is it?
The representatives.
The representatives.
Representatives. That's it. That's very good. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I would like you to do these exercises today. Once your ideas are still fresh and you can remember these things. So you work on these exercises right after this lecture. And let me just remind you of the summary. Basically, the X-bar theory says that every phrase can be analyzed in terms of two rules. The first one, rewriting the maximal projection at the specifier and one bar level, and the second one, analyzing the one bar level as a head followed by a complement. Remember that the complement and the specifier are optional, while the head is always there. Every phrase must have one and only one head, but it can have complements and it can have specifiers. And this tree diagram in here summarizes everything. Using this, we can analyze all the phrases, and the close structure that we use is the one that you have in here. This is the close structure. Ladies and gentlemen, before closing this small lecture, do you have any questions?
No, Professor, it's clear.
Okay. Okay, very good. So I advise you to go straight after this, a small lecture, and do the homework that I gave you, because it's a very good idea to apply that we learn to some sentences before you forget them. Thank you very much for coming, and see you next time.
Thank you, Professor.
You are welcome.
Thank you.
Yes, sir, Professor.
Welcome.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Bye.